37, and I've got another Dario Argento Giallo review. Now, my last review was Dario Argento's Giallo from 2009, and I thought that for the handful of Argento films I have left, I thought since Giallo was out of the way, which wasn't as bad as I was expecting, because just from what I've heard people say, I thought for the very least the Giallo films would have been a little bit more smooth sailing. But then I watched this, and I don't know if I could go as far as to say it's his worst Giallo, because I mean I did have problems with 2009's Giallo, but this has got to be up there. But it's the 2005 made-for-TV movie, Do You Like Hitchcock? And I didn't really know much about this movie at all. I do know some people like it. I've seen some reviews on YouTube of people that absolutely hate it. But people I've talked to personally, they seem to think it's a cool little film. Now, I will say right off the bat, it's a cool concept. It's a concept we've seen before, but, well, maybe not this specifically, but some people seem to think this is Argento's response to Scream, sort of a meta, postmodern type look, which, I mean, Argento's always been called the Italian Hitchcock, and Scream, the characters were slasher fans. Here he makes them Hitchcock fans. Well, actually, the lead is a film student doing a thesis on, I think, German expression, because it shows him watching Caligari and Nosferatu, the Golem, which I have, but I don't know why I never reviewed the Golem. I do like the Golem. And this is sort of him paying homage or tribute to Hitchcock, and it blends a couple of the biggest Hitchcock films. I mean, the movie really is like, it plays out like Rear Window mixed with Strangers on a Train. There's a little bit of Dial M for Murder, Vertigo, North by Northwest. There's little nods to other films, but it's mostly Rear Window and Strangers on a Train. Actually, Strangers on a Train, the film itself, does play a part in the film. So yeah, I mean, and I've read people kind of comparing it to Scream, and this is kind of his answer to it. But God, this movie. Yes, it's a made-for-TV movie, so I know the budget's going to be rather low, but he would go on to do 2 episodes of Masters of Horror, which is a TV show. Those look more like movies than this. And without exaggerating, without trying to sound funny, this, at times, looked like a Goosebumps episode. It really did. There are times where it looked like shot on video. It's incredibly low quality. There's also this thing I've seen with some TV movies. I know a couple of the made-for-TV Incredible Hulk ones were like this, the ones with Lou Ferrigno, where the editing is really fast. Like, it looks like the people are sped up. There is a couple of that in here. Some of the acting is okay. The lead is god-awful. I don't know if that's... I guess you could say it's a nod to the classic type of acting that's really over the top. I don't think this movie's that clever. I think it's just piss poor acting. So it was written by Argento and Franco Ferrini, who has worked with Argento on a number of different projects. He actually wrote and directed the Giallo film Sweets from a Stranger, but he also wrote Red Rings of Fear, Once Upon a Time in America. Wow. He also wrote or co-wrote Phenomena, Demons, Demons 2, The Church, Two Evil Eyes, and Stendhal Syndrome. So all but two films of his filmography are ones that I won't have reviews for. That's his selected filmography. And it stars Elio Germano, Chiara Conti, Elisabetta Rocchetti, Cristina Brando, and Ivan Morales. Music by Pino Donaggio, which I've seen that name before. He's done some De Palma films. He did Carrie, did Piranha, did Tourist Trap, did Dressed to Kill, The Howling, Fulci's Black Cat, Blowout, Beyond the Door, Body Double. So yeah, he's actually done a lot by De Palma. The Giallo film Nothing Underneath, Ruggero Deodato's Phantom of Death. So done quite a few scores, but it doesn't say what program or what station this aired on. Film was nominated for Best TV Movie at the 2006 Barcelona Film Awards. Wow. And yeah, of course this is later Argento, so which is a period where Argento was really more into shooting realistically and not being as visual or stylish, visually interesting or stylish much at all. It does show in this. I mean, there are a couple cool things. There are some tracking shots or panning shots. Some of the lighting is decent. Of course, you get POV shots of the killer that look decent. But for the most part, it has this borderline shot on video look so much that it's actually really distracting that you don't even really get to notice any camera tricks if there are any. And the story, yeah, I can think of a few other films that took the Rear Window approach and did it much better. Fright Night, even Disturbia. I actually didn't mind Disturbia. There's even a remake of Rear Window with Christopher Reeve. But, so, okay. And actually, there's a few scenes in a video store, which was very nostalgic for me. I grew up going to the video store. It's my favorite part of my childhood that I miss the most. And there's posters for Hitchcock everywhere. There's even a poster for Argento's The Card Player, which this came out the year after The Card Player came out. Okay, that's fixed. It really doesn't even explain. I kept waiting for them to explain the opening because it's a flashback to 1991 and it shows this sort of interaction. It does come into play at the very last few seconds of the film, but it doesn't really do much. But yeah, the lead is definitely the worst actor of the bunch, but it opens up 1991, so it's like 14 years prior. There's this young kid on his bike out in the woods. There's like this cabin, and he sees these two girls a bit older than him. They slaughter a chicken. And the very over-the-top acting, I mean, when they cut the head off, the blood spurts onto this one girl's face, and she just, like, spazzes out. Like, she's calm and then just gleefully starts laughing. They see him in the window. They start chasing him. Doesn't show what happens. Now he's a film student. He's doing a thesis on German expressionist film. But when it shows his apartment, I mean, he's got posters from Fritz Lang and Hitchcock. And he notices that there's this woman named Sasha across the way. I think it takes place in London. But, or it made it sound like it, but they all have Italian names. So, but yeah. So he likes to watch Sasha from across the way. And a lot of her acting is very visual because, of course, we're seeing through his binoculars. So when we see her mother giving her shit, or some of the stuff that happens to her, like I think she's forced to have sex with someone at one point, it's very visual acting, and that's interesting. But he goes to the video store one day, and he overhears her talking to this other woman. They both want to rent Strangers on a Train at the same time. And he seems to be friends with the clerk at the video store, whose name I think is Andre. And then shortly after, well, then he follows the girls around at one point, and they seem, it's implied they might be closer than they let on. Like, they seem to be strangers at first, strangers on a train. But they're like at the park, and they're like whispering into each other's ears. But shortly after, Sasha's mother is murdered. And it's up to this guy, Giulio, to solve the case. And he becomes more and more obsessed with it. Now, he has a girlfriend named... I don't even remember what his girlfriend's name is, to be honest. Is it Ariana? Yeah, it must be. Federica is the name of the other girl at the video store. Sasha's played by Elisabetta Rocchetti, and Chiara Conti plays Federica. Christina Brando plays Ariana, his girlfriend. She even finds out that he's been spying on Sasha from across the way and watching her, and of course she gets pissed. And the dude is... his acting, I swear... like... this isn't a spoiler, but like, only because this movie's so forgettable. I just remember like the last few minutes. But like, when he's on the phone with the inspector, he's saying like, I see the killer. She's in the apartment. My girlfriend's in there. She's in danger. And like, when his girlfriend wants to go over there and catch the person in the apartment, he's like, no. Like, his acting is terrible. Again, I don't know if that's intentional to pay homage to classic acting. I doubt it, but anyway, Giulio finds out that Sasha was an only child and that her mother was a rich widow. And then he starts piecing it together that possibly Sasha and Federica, because he overhears the Strangers on a Train conversation, he thinks maybe they conspired to have her mother killed. Which, the killing scene of the mother was... the blood they used in this was like, almost looked like syrup. It was super dark red. And, I mean, I like the idea that when she's hit with whatever it is, it hits the camera and kind of... but it's super thick looking. he does run over to the apartment. He sees the cleaning crew. Uh, he finds a receipt that like €1 million have been withdrawn from her account. And then, uh, his mom calls him and says, "I want to meet my new fiance." But then, when Sasha gets back, the cleaning crew says, that guy Giulio who lives across the way, he stopped by. And I guess I'll get into spoilers, but I mean, this movie's only 93 minutes. It does go by pretty quickly, but if you hear noises, because the dog can't just sleep. He needs his nails trimmed. He keeps dragging on the carpet. It's really fucking annoying. I guess I'll get into spoilers, but I might not to say that I liked Giallo more, because I was very disappointed with that movie. And this one does have a very cool concept that I do like. But Giallo, I was more checked into. That I felt that to be more involving, engrossing, which isn't saying much. This, and it's not because it looked low budget or it looked crappy. It's not that, but I mean, it's part of it. But the acting didn't help. It felt more like some hack director trying to be Argento. But yeah, there's not even too much to talk about on a technical level. I mean, the score is very unmemorable, except for a few cues where it sounds like the opening to the Psycho theme, the dun 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 dun, and then I think it kind of stops. But I guess I'll get into spoilers. So there's this one part where Giulio and his girlfriend get in an argument. So she leaves. As she's leaving, guy from the video store comes up. He's got strangers on a train for him. I think it was strangers on a train. But then he attacks him. And also, actually, I have to look up how his leg got broken. Because okay, I don't remember how. Oh, it's because he has like a scooter and he. I think he gets hit by someone. But yeah, he also finds out someone does break into his apartment, and he calls his girlfriend, and he thinks that because he thinks Sasha killed her mother, and that now it's or Federica killed Sasha's mother, so it's Sasha's turn to kill someone for her because of the strangers on a train plot. His girlfriend doesn't believe it. The guy at the video store tells him, "Hey, that girl knows that you've been watching her." He goes to Federica's workplace, and he watches them get into a tiffy. He knows Federica is being blackmailed by her boss. So he puts the two and two together, like, okay, so Sasha's probably gonna have to kill the boss. Oh, he falls and fractures his ankle. So he gets back to his scooter and escapes. But at one point, he's in his apartment. Him and his girlfriend get in an argument. She leaves. The video store clerk comes up. And then he attacks him. And he tries drowning him in the bathtub. Because he says, I gotta go use your bathroom. But then, he says he has a hard time turning the tap off or something. So when he goes in the bathroom, he attacks him. And, he beats the shit out of Giulio. He takes his leg with the cast. and just bashes it on the side of the tub. He bashes his head against the side of the tub. He keeps holding him underwater, yelling unintelligible things. This doesn't come with subtitles, but I think something like "you couldn't leave it alone" or some shit. All the while, Giulio's mother and her new fiance are coming over. They're able to break in just in time. His mom's fiance is able to chase the clerk out of the building. He's hit by a car. He's killed. And so then that's when his girlfriend comes back over, and he fills her in on the theory that, okay, so she wants Sasha to kill her boss. But even though I think Sasha's already been arrested at this point, yeah, she has. But then they see a woman dressed in black. This person, yeah, they put this sort of House of Wax looking killer, the newer House of Wax, on the cover. And, with flashlights looking for something. So then that's when his girlfriend wants to go across the way and catch her. And that's when he's like, no, no. And then he calls the inspector. Yeah, my girlfriend, she's in danger. And I will say, and then we see that this killer grabs a knife. And so then it's like this glass staircase. So we see the girlfriend and the inspector chasing the killer up. Now, it should be obvious who this person is. They try to play it off like it's a twist because this woman's wearing a black wig. But it's like, Sasha's in jail, so who else could it be? But I do like how, because, eventually it goes up to the rooftops, we kind of get like the North by Northwest kind of fall. But mostly in Giallo, you get a very long kind of chase scene at the end. Not always, but sometimes. Here, though, it is all shown through his binoculars. I do like that idea. I do like how it doesn't show them in the chase. It's just what he sees. It does kind of make it more suspenseful and more interesting. Kind of seeing the killer from afar. One of the reasons why I love the Red Queen kill 7 times. We see the killer run away for quite a distance. And then, the woman's cornered up on the roof. She decides to just fall off. The inspector catches her, and she lets the other arm dangle. So when the girlfriend tries to be like, give me your other arm, she's just like, no. And then the wig falls off, and we see that it's Federica. They do end up getting her back up onto the roof. And she's talking about keys, which I don't even know what she was talking about. Something about how they both had each other's keys, but she got mixed up and she had to get her own or something. And then she got nervous when she heard someone coming, so that's why she got the knife. But she's arrested, and then sometime later, Giulio's healed up, and he notices there's a new sexy female neighbor with her blinds open. She's naked. She lays down on the couch to read a Giallo book. Yeah, she has a yellow-spined Giallo, which I believe was The Window in the Night. I'm not sure if that's been made into a movie or not, but she kind of glances over, and it shows that she notices him but doesn't really care. And then I get what they're trying to say at the end, but it's like all these cuts backwards, and then it shows him as the young boy in the beginning looking through the window of the two girls with the chicken. They could have just shown that. It didn't need to cut back all these scenes. Unless it was all the scenes of him looking through his binoculars, but it's just random ones. And then he kind of puts the binoculars down, then freeze frame, and it ends. I think almost as if to say, maybe I should not peep into people's business. Maybe I should just keep to myself. Again, almost kind of like a Fright Night type ending, which was inspired by Rear Window. Yeah, like Giallo, this movie had potential. I mean, I don't know how much they could have done with the TV budget on TV. Again, I don't think it was like an HBO type station. I think it was like a cable type station. But yeah, on the back this even says gore effects by Sergio Stivoletti from Cemetery Man and Demons. The only gore effects is a bunch of syrupy looking blood. But I like the idea of, okay, this film student. Oh, and also it shows at the end he's changed his thesis to Russian Expressionism. But, this film student, this film fan, who starts noticing the similarities of Hitchcock films and this murder that happened across the street that he witnessed. Or witnesses a bunch of pieces to the puzzle and becomes obsessed with it. And then the plot does incorporate a lot of, elements from Hitchcock films to sort of help support that. I like that concept. Sadly, you just get this very poorly made for TV movie. Is it Argento's worst? No. I would still put this above Phantom of the Opera. I still haven't seen Dracula yet. That's one I need to get to. Same with Mother of Tears. With Giallo, though, I think they're both equally bad, but for different reasons. They both are disappointing because of the potential, because of this great concept. But I would have to say Giallo is better made. I really got to give it to that. That was more engaging. I was more checked in with Giallo. This, I was not expecting it to be this bad. Yeah, I really was not a fan of this film. As far as Argento goes, I would really have to put this down way towards the bottom. But yeah, this is 2005, made for TV, Giallo, Do You Like Hitchcock? Really not much to say about it. But anyway, thank you for watching.